Alright, so I was originally going to talk about Sami Zayn's explanation for a heel turn, but I delayed that when I found out what happened when this story broke. WWE lately has become increasingly petty and vindictive, specifically towards Bullet Club. You see, when the Young Bucks, Cody, Hangman Page, Cody's wife, and I'm trying to remember who the other guy was with them. Okay. So the Bullet Club did this invasion angle, and after what happened, the Young Bucks revealed they had received a cease and desist order, which was known for 2 weeks prior, or something like that. And WWE threatened legal action for damages up to $150,000 per item. Any profits made on the sale of those items and legal fees. And WWE claims ownership of the hand gesture due to their purchase of the WCW's intellectual property. The Bucks, however, removed all references to Too Sweet, made a music video for a farewell from the t-shirts for sale on their YoungBucksMerch.com, which you can check out website, and on their ProWrestlingTees.com store. They have since released a cease and desist t-shirt to basically poke fun at WWE, which has quickly become a top seller. And if you look around it, it's pretty awesome. Knowing that, yeah, we don't care what WWE thinks, we're just gonna piss them off anymore. Next, they'll probably claim emotional damage. So, yeah, WWE's claiming now they own a hand gesture, which means we are completely filled with bullshit. So, and they tried to trademark this 2 years ago and failed because the judge said that would be confusing. Though that's the sugar-coated version. If I was the judge, I would have said this. Vince, you're a fucking sad, pathetic excuse for a businessman, especially because, one, you can't claim a hand gesture. Everyone uses the hand gesture. Are you going to charge people for it? For every time they throw out the hand gesture, they're going to be charged $150 because you're causing emotional damage. So, yeah, we're at this level now, and my respect towards Vince is diminished even more, if that was even possible, and the company as a whole for allowing this to happen. I'm wondering, what does Adam Cole think? What does AJ Styles think? What does Finn Balor think? Because they were part of Bullet Club, and they were buddy-buddy, also Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, or Luke Gallows as he's known in WWE. What do you think they all think right now? Hearing that their buddies are being punished for something that they also have done, but they're not facing any repercussions. Like, Finn Balor founded the group, so shouldn't he be punished? Let's see, AJ Styles was the second leader. Shouldn't he be punished? Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows were very popular tag team members of the group. Shouldn't they be punished? I know I'm giving Vince ideas, but let's be honest, this is clearly what they should be thinking now, since the company is filled with idiots and yes men. So, yeah, here's what happened. Jimmy Jacobs, who joined WWE back in 2015 as part of the creative team as a writer, and then joined up with SmackDown. And I'll tell you what the one big achievement he managed to do, but I'll get to that in a moment. He is no longer working for WWE and made his exit last week. Now, this could be seen as, okay, it was just he just maybe parted ways with him. But this is where the story gets interesting. You see, remember how I talked about Bullet Club just not too long ago? That's where this ties in. You see, Jimmy Jacobs, who's a Ring of Honor veteran, worked for that company for 10 years, was part of two big popular factions known as the Age of the Fall and Scum, with future stars such as Kevin Owens, WWE icon Matt Hardy, and future WWE star Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins. So, okay. He's from the independent scene, so I'm pretty sure that already makes him a target. So, it gets So, you see, during the Bullet Club's little invasion, He just said, "Hey, I'm gonna hang out with. I want to see some old friends. I'm friends with them and whatnot. Like, I want to hang out with them for a sec." He goes ahead and takes a photo with them. Okay, that seems all right. Like, yeah, wrestlers break kayfabe all the time. In fact, it's pretty much dead at this point in 2017. So, yeah, it's perfectly all right. He's just hanging out with some friends. He's not spilling any corporate BS or anything. And plus, the internet already did that for them. So there's no such thing as corporate espionage in wrestling now, unless they really kept it tight-lid. And even then, I'm pretty sure the rival companies wouldn't want anything from Vince nowadays. Other than their talent, but that's it. Because it's not like Vince destroys his own talent and makes them leave. Oh, wait. So, yeah, anyways. He takes a picture with them. That was on the 25th. Apparently, this got him tons of heat with Vince and the corporate staff. It hasn't been confirmed if he's been officially released. WWE hasn't come out and said it, but apparently this was the final straw for WWE. So they, in their brilliant, blessed ignorance, decide to fire a guy who hasn't been known for any trouble he's caused. Like, no reports have come out regarding that, as far as I've heard. And he takes a picture with just some friends of his who just are from rival companies, and he's condemned for it. He gets fired. He's out of a job. Now, this is Jimmy Jacobs, so he has a bit bright. He can go back to Ring of Honor. He can go to Global Force Wrestling. He can go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He can go anywhere since there's so many companies. He can go to Lucha Underground. But WWE condemns him for this. For doing a photo op with his buddies, with his friends. Okay, so let's say this becomes a staple now in WWE. Who would be next? Is Joey Mercury, who's also a producer backstage, going to be fired because he also works in the independent scene while working for WWE and hangs out with his friends from the independent scene, and also because he's friends with CM Punk? Are they going to fire him? Let's see. Are they going to fire John Cena? Well, this is really going overboard since he's part of the triumvirate that runs this company. Are they going to fire Cena because he's friends with CM Punk and is and is practically family with Daniel Bryan? Okay, let's see. Who else is known to hang out with independent wrestlers and people who aren't part of the company? Well, let's see. Kevin Owens, after he had won the Universal Championship, was hanging out with Adam Cole, who was Ring of Honor champion at the time. They just shared a room together and did a photo. He's not fired, so are they going to fire him next? Let's see. If I can think more. Road Dogg, who's the head writer of SmackDown and worked with Jimmy Jacobs on the creative team of SmackDown, he hung out with former WCW wrestlers about their addictions in the past, during the 90s. So, why isn't Road Dogg fired then, by this logic? Like, this is so much bullshit. Like, this isn't the same as what happened with Sexy Star, where she intentionally injured Rosemary, because that's completely understandable. That's condemned. We can blacklist her for that. This is a guy who just wanted to hang out with his friends, people he's known for years in the independents. And someone defends the company, saying, well, if you signed a deal with Nike and you hung out with some representatives of the other company, shouldn't you get fired? And I'm like, okay, Bullet Club doesn't have political power in the company as far as we know, in New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor. They're just a faction. They're just hired workers. So, but I just listed out all these guys who have broke kayfabe, hung out with other wrestlers from the independent scene, or people who haven't worked with WWE yet, they're not fired, they're not being condemned, they're not even being punished. And there's no report of Kevin Owens getting heat for uploading a photo of him and Adam Cole hanging out in a hotel room. And, let's see, they also brung in independent wrestlers such as Cole Cabana on documentaries. So are they going to erase all that because, oh, he's not part of the company, therefore he's immediately a villain? So, yeah, this whole week has been filled with bullshit from the company of WWE. Like, let's see, Neville's gone, Jimmy Jacobs is fired, and then just a month ago, the Too Sweet gesture is now broken out with controversy, since Vince claims he owns that, even though they don't have a legitimate trademark over it, since the judge dismissed it as confusing. But they'll say, well, we bought WCW, and they claim they invented it. Even though Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and X-Pac did the Too Sweet gesture before Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and X-Pac went to WCW during the Monday Night War. So, wouldn't WWE say that they own it already, but they can't, and Scott Hall gave them consent, saying, oh, if you guys from Bullet Club want to do the Too Sweet gesture, you have my permission. In fact, you have the Click's permission. We honestly don't care because it's a fucking hand gesture. So, yeah, so, where does Vince draw the line here? I don't know where he draws the line here, but now it looks like he's just trying to destroy the Bullet Club. And let's be honest, he probably is trying to. I wouldn't be surprised. Because he didn't make them. He never created them. He had dreamed for years, probably, of creating something as a successor to the NWO. And they tried to bring back the NWO and that failed. Evolution wasn't the NWO. Every faction that was made, especially the Shield, weren't the NWO or a proper successor. New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor did create a successor to the NWO. Bullet Club. But here's the difference between those two companies and Vince's philosophy. Vince controls everybody. He makes them listen to a script. They don't get allowed to express themselves anymore. Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, they rely on creative freedom from the wrestlers. Yes, they probably have writers, but they have to also give the wrestlers a chance to be inputting in the process. So, yeah, I'm curious as to know, what does Adam Cole think? What does AJ Styles think? What, in fact, Kevin Owens thinks, Sami Zayn, Hideo Itami, they also do the Too Sweet gesture. Are they? And you want to know what the biggest highlight that Jimmy Jacobs did as a part of the creative team? He's the guy that came up with the list of Jericho. Yeah, he gave Chris Jericho, hey, how about you do this list thing, and let's see how that goes. And here's what Chris Jericho said in an interview when he confirmed that Jimmy Jacobs was the guy that gave him the idea. Vince hated it because he didn't make it. Chris Jericho admitted that Vince was mad that this was getting over than Roman Reigns or any other guy he pushes. I'm getting the feeling Vince was looking for an excuse. He can't fire a guy for coming up with something that made the audience laugh and enjoy it. At least I don't think so. But now, he hangs out with what he perceives as the villains of wrestling. Oh, also I must stress, the entire United Kingdom division, yeah, they're not part of the WWE officially. They're not contracted. They still work in the independent scene in Europe. So, shouldn't they technically be fired? Because, well, they don't work for the company, but at the same time they do. They're open contracted wrestlers, something that Vince has never agreed to. They either sign a deal or they get out. So, shouldn't that logic apply to them as well? Yeah, I can go all day with a list. In fact, here's the best way to describe it. Vince must be so stuck in the past that he's now thinking this is the era where the companies tried their damnedest to make sure the heels and faces stayed in separate places in order to make it look like they really hated each other. But in reality, that wasn't the case. They tried to sell the story. Except, here's the thing. That was decades ago. Decades ago. That era is over. There is no such thing as kayfabe anymore. It's practically dead at this point. But Vince is trying everything so hard to make this still existing. Even Triple H acknowledges, yes, it's dead. Just get over it. And I'm curious to know what does Triple H think. Like, Triple H most likely heard of Jimmy Jacobs. Vince doesn't care. Just say, okay, Triple H, you're my son-in-law. Okay, if you want to hire this guy, just go ahead. And then realizes, oh god, this guy's actually more talented than me. Condemn him, fire him, get rid of him. He's evil. It's just frustrating. Like, I can watch Ring of Honor. I can watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, what's next? If I go to a WWE event wearing a Bullet Club shirt, will I be kicked out? Like, they already forbid any other wrestlers coming in with other wrestling masks from other promotions. Like, I can somewhat buy that as, like, probably terroristic threats. But I'm pretty sure they didn't even think about that. Because they approved WWE masked wrestler gear. So, what's next? They're gonna kick every fan out of the building that wears an independent wrestling shirt. In fact, NXT fans condemned this one fan who wore a TNA shirt. Yeah, that's my one gripe I have with NXT so far. But yeah, so where does all this go? Like, I don't know where Jimmy Jacobs is gonna go with this. He's probably gonna head back to Ring of Honor. He might even join up with Bullet Club in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Either way, oh god, I have no idea what's going to happen. It is just, this whole story is so absurd and petty and vindictive that, god. So, let's go with it. Vince is practically Palpatine at this point. Crazy, senile, over the top with everything. And, like I said, Kevin Owens is friends with Jimmy Jacobs. Sami Zayn is friends with Jimmy Jacobs, most likely. They worked in Ring of Honor together. Seth Rollins is friends with Jimmy Jacobs. Neville was probably friends with Jimmy Jacobs. In fact, a lot of the independent wrestlers were friends with Jimmy Jacobs. So, are they going to be punished because they are buddy-buddy with an outsider? Is this really what Vince wants to push for? More further discrimination because you hung out with these guys who don't work for us? Like, we already have the NXT discrimination going on because fuck common sense. So, yeah. You know what? I'm just going to stop. If I keep going, I'm pretty certain this is gonna really piss me off even more, and I'm just talking in circles. So, those were our thoughts on Jimmy Jacobs' termination from WWE. This was Near Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.